Good evening and welcome back to Apostate Coalition. I am Ryan. This is a news, education, information, entertainment channel. And tonight, our lovely sister doctor, time waster extraordinaire, will be leading our Bible study, Life How Did It Get Here? By evolution or by masturbation?
Ooh, I'm hoping for the latter now.
I'll mix good both.
Actually,
Sames.
can we just cancel the rest of this book study and just assume that that's
Make
what
it
it
about
is
that.
and go?
We're done.
We're done.
Figured out.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Mwah.
We
Really,
have
thank you for coming.
solved life's truly. We're talking physically. Thanks.
No,
It's
you're
good to
fine.
see you all tonight. Thanks for coming.
Yes, welcome to the Worldly Book Study, where we are continuing our journey on the Life How Did It Get Here book. And we are now on chapter 3. I was going to forego the introductions because I feel like if you're here, you've made it this far and you've already figured out what we are here for. So we're good to go. But what we're doing is we're reading the Jehovah's Witness creation book, published in 1985, updated in 2006, made no changes whatsoever. And we are reading what the Jehovah's Witness organization has to say about evolution and creation. And we are on chapter 3, which is, what does Genesis say? Do you want to put your version up on the screen? So, oh my, what was that?
Bring back memories.
Well, stick around and you might find out.
Yeah. I have to say, Brother Dobstopper standing there like that, it's given me memories of being at a convention and you know how the dudes would stand there just like taking count or pretending like they're doing something
Yeah.
We're just
arbitrary.
standing next to you in the aisle.
With the clipboard,
Right.
being
Yeah,
important.
exactly. That's the vibes I'm getting. It's a whole
That
mood. Okay.
is exactly what I'm trying to sit here and do, is look important for all the viewers.
Good job, brother.
You're doing
Thank
a good
you,
job.
sister.
I commend you.
I mean, I'm not good for anything else, but at least I'll look important doing this.
There you go.
I think it's going with the theme, so it's good. It works. All right. Well, let's just go ahead and jump right in. I want to first take a step back really quick and remind everybody when we finished up chapter 2, and maybe you could, if you can scroll it just
Scroll a
a
little
tad.
bit. Absolutely, I can do that. How far you want me to go?
So it's not. We had gone over one of the questions, and it's basically see here, I'm not ready. Blah blah blah. Help me out
Blah's
here.
about right.
Damn it, now I forgot what I was gonna say. All right, well, when we were back here, they were talking about evolution, and essentially they pointed out about how evolution isn't doing a very good job of explaining how life got here. Oh, yeah. Question 27. If you scroll down just a little bit.
There we
Sorry,
go.
I knew I'd get there eventually. Bear with me, folks. What other framework for the evidence is there which offers a basis for understanding of how life got here? Okay. We don't even need to answer what that was here. Let's move back over to chapter 3 and let's just keep that question in mind as we dive right in on paragraph 1.
So what other framework for the evidence is there which offers a basis for understanding how life got here? Okay, so we got to keep that in mind with whatever propaganda we're gonna read next. Okay,
because we're rolling right in, right? What is Genesis?
Rolling in there.
Who would like to read the first paragraph?
Oh wow.
Oh,
is Brother Dogstopper even
Brother
paying attention?
Dogstopper, go right for it. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna call on me?
Dive in.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right in there.
Call on.
As with other things that are misrepresented or misunderstood, The first chapter of the Bible deserves at least a fair hearing. The need is to investigate and determine whether it harmonizes with known facts, not to mold it to fit some theoretical framework. Also, to be remembered, the Genesis account was not written to show the how of creation. Rather, it covers major events in a progressive way, describing what things were formed, the order in which they were formed, and the time interval, or day, in which each first appeared.
Hmm. What was that question again? What was that?
Oh goodness, what
Yeah.
framework? Wasn't it something about
Yeah,
what other
what
framework
other
for
framework
evidence
for
is
evidence
there?
is there, and which offers a basis for understanding how life
How
got
life
here?
got here?
Oh, it's only theoretical, so don't even think about it.
I don't know because it says in the next paragraph that Genesis does not show the how
It doesn't.
of
So
creation.
obviously that isn't a
Well,
valid framework
hmm,
for evidence for
so I don't
how life
I
got
don't
here.
I don't know the answer number 27 then.
All right, thanks for coming out, everybody. We really don't need to read any further, right? Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Don't forget to tip your wait person.
Life. How did it get here?
Hmm.
It's literally the question of the book. And they're saying that the Genesis theory
But
doesn't explain how life
Topic.
y'all say what you want about this, but what is super silly is the origin of species not actually having anything to do with the origin of life at all. How stupid is that? Forget
I
about
mean,
this.
they are finding here is my thought before we move on. My thought is that the reason why a lot of people push back about evolution is because really what we're talking about here is an alternative logical and reasonable explanation for how life as we know it today has become to exist, right? And that's apparently according to the Jehovah's Witness organization who authored this book, that's not that's the equivalent of what Genesis is doing. Genesis is saying, well, how everything came to exist right here as we know it is because God went bing, boom, bada bada boom, step 1 through 10. There we go. Right. And like somehow it's upsetting for them to lose that because evolution is going, or we could explain it this way. And
Right.
so, but none of this is like you're saying, okay, so the technicality of does evolution explain it? The technicality of does Genesis say how life got here? I think we could certainly debate that, right? That's but just based on this argument is what I'm trying to get at. And you're right, abiogenesis is more the theory of how could say molecules that we don't consider to be living organisms have made those first steps into forming into what we now define as a living organism. And I think the more you understand how evolution works, which is can be very challenging because it is a different way of thinking about time, right? And change. And so taking the changes that we see every day all the time and on little smaller scales and then expanding that out to potentially billions of years, when you start to work that through your brain, which is really challenging and I struggle with that, like it does make sense that sure, why not? It's not that big of a leap to go. And then molecules formed around in a circle, which provided a space for something else to change. And now we have a cell, right? That's what we're talking about. So
And
anyways,
cell, to clarify, a cell is the smallest thing that we consider to be life. And abiogenesis, as far as I understand it, talks about how we get things like proteins that make up cells. If I'm
This is the only cell I know about.
which cell?
My cell phone. No, gotcha. Sorry.
And that's true. The book will go into detail of those kinds of things as we go forward and nitpick all the details of what evolution says it is. And this is where it's interesting, and I think it's worth doing, because all I've been doing is I study through it as I've just been picking out what they're saying evolution is saying and why that's stupid, which you could think like, okay, if that is what evolution is saying, that is stupid. But what is it saying? And is it still saying that with the technology and the evidence that we've gathered in the last, I don't know, 40 to 80 years, depending on which reference they're using? And a lot of things have changed. So all I've just been doing for the rest of this book is like going, is that really what they think about that fossil now? And then I find out that's not what they think about that fossil. And so really, once we get past this chapter, I don't know how much longer we'll want to do this.
Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
Now I
How
can.
y'all hear me?
I can hear you better now, I think. I think the way you held it, it might have just been turned like away or something the last time you're
Okay.
commenting. Brother Stopper.
All right.
Stopper.
Thank you, sister.
Anyways,
Right. Yeah, what's worse? I mean, I'd rather come from monkeys. That's
Monkeys.
cool.
Well,
and,
we don't come
Smart.
from
and what does
monkeys.
worse
I
have anything to
evolved,
do with
man.
it? Like, we're here.
Yeah, I mean, it's right. Like, who can like, oh,
What doesn't matter whether we came from
people
dust
and
or
their
monkeys?
audacity.
But do we want to, one of those is like, hey, learning how things work, and that's great. And we could be wrong, right? That's the monkey side. The dust is like, you are going to burn to dust if you don't believe that this is true, which is
Right.
a
Little different.
It's just a little different.
It's also it's irrelevant to me which one is worse. It's just which one is true. And I mean, often I feel
Or more
which
likely,
might
at
be
least.
horrible, but yeah,
I'm
which
sorry.
one is more likely? At least you're right.
I just wanted to laugh at Jonathan's joke again. It deserved a second glance. I just say that.
Fill those gaps up.
Well, what's the answer? What's the question, I should say, for the real one for number one?
Oh, what's okay? What is the purpose of this discussion on Genesis, and what should be remembered? What's the purpose? What are they saying is the purpose?
What is the purpose of this discussion?
Yeah, that's a really good question. That's the best question I've seen them ever ask.
And what first should be remembered? Well, the purpose of this discussion was to say that we're not the ones that mold it to fit some theoretical framework. Evolution is. Sorry.
Right. I think that's.
And that it doesn't tell the how, right? That's actually.
Yeah.
Right. That's the second part of the question. It says, and what should be remembered? And it says right there, halfway into the paragraph, to be remembered is that Genesis was not written to show the how creation.
What?
So that's what
why
we
did
should
they
remember.
even make that distinction?
Yeah, why'd they even say that?
Is it so they can go out of the gaps their way through science even more? Because now every time science finds something, they'll be like, see, that's what Genesis says. See, I don't know. That's my theory. My hypothesis, excuse me.
Oh, well, if it's just a theory, then I don't even want to hear about it.
Exactly. There's no evidence for it if it's just a theory.
So don't even ever talk about it until you have some proof. Thanks.
I think the next important thing I wanted to bring up about this is in part B, which is how are events covered in the first chapter of Genesis. I mean, that's
I feel like that's confusing me. Because then it says it's not the how. How are the events covered in the first chapter of Genesis?
It's covered.
But it's not to show the how.
From the standpoint of people on Earth.
I think that's what they're trying. That's what they're getting at. But they're trying to show that it. What's that? Sorry, I was talking over you.
Oh, I just said, is that the answer they were looking for?
Well, I think they're trying to point out that it's it's describing things that were formed in the order of which they were formed and the time interval in which it occurred. But they're quoting day, like, what could a day possibly mean? So that to me was like the next important topic that I think they mess up on here. But I think they're just trying to like establish that the Bible is the first chapter is saying how things happen and in this perfect order of things. See?
So in actuality, it just looks like the only thing it is the order, because the interval doesn't matter if it's not the cyclical time that we know it as, then it's not even a time, right? It's for
Right.
us, it's not, if we don't understand what it is, and then it's really not a time. That's how I see it. If it could be one day to a million days. So really it's just the order.
Which is I'm so excited when we get
An
there.
unrealistic order.
We'll get there. You want to read number 2?
You want me to?
Or whoever. Yes.
When examining the Genesis account, it is helpful to keep in mind that it approaches matters from the standpoint of people on earth. So it describes events as they would have been seen by human observers had they been present. This can be noted from its treatment of events on the fourth Genesis day. There, the sun and moon are described as great luminaries in comparison to the stars. Yet many stars are far greater than our sun, and the moon is insignificant in comparison to them, but not to an earthly observer. Oh, okay, okay. So, as seen from the earth, the sun appears to be a greater light that rules the day, and the moon a lesser light that dominates the night.
See?
Oh my Lord Jesus. Does it end? Is that the end of it? Okay, I want to make sure it wasn't like one of those weird paragraphs that kept going.
No, it ends right there. What
Oh my.
I feel like I don't even care what their question is. What are your thoughts on that chapter?
The way that paragraph is worded to me seems like no matter which way I question them, they're gonna have a way to argue against it, because like my question would be like they just kind of prevent it by saying they're described as great luminaries in comparison to stars, yet many stars are far greater than our sun. So they're saying some stars are bigger than the sun, and the moon is insignificant in comparison to the stars. So, as seen from there, sir, a greater light that rules the day, and the moon a lesser light that dominates the night. So, it kind of seems like they're getting ahead of any questions about the Genesis verses. You could say
I just have so much to say.
it seems like they like okay, so a greater light. You could say, well, the sun's not that great because other stars are bigger than it, and they're just getting ahead of being like, yeah, but the Bible says that, or we're saying right now that the moon is big compared to stars, and it calls the moon a lesser light. So
Yeah, as they're
it's
describing it,
hyperbole.
I'm trying to picture all these things, and it just starts to get really convoluted as well. Like, I get what they're trying to
Yep,
say, but they're really
exactly.
trying hard to justify it. And Dan, we are so close to getting to the answer to your question, so you just hang on in there.
Hang on
Oh,
tight,
yes.
lover boy. It's gonna get bumpy out here in outer space.
That's right.
God's
Ryan,
out here masturbating.
Brian, I want to hear some of your thoughts on this chapter because you look
The
like you were
Cretan
just
universe.
bursting.
I just feel like, if anything, it's just evidence that it's all human made. They're saying it's the order of how it would appear for humans. Exactly, because you're the ones making it up. Humans are the ones who are making up what they think happened.
Right.
Honestly, it just,
From
to
the
me,
only
it's like
perspective
absolute
they
proof.
could know.
Exactly. To
Right.
give me something different to talk about what I can't see. Now that would be, tell me about my organs. Tell
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
about what's
A black
inside
hole.
this.
Describe a black hole to me, like that would
Then
be
I'd be
impressive,
like,
right?
mm-hmm.
But for
Because
God to
eventually we
put
can
it in the
figure out
way that
we
we
figured out
see
the
it
solar
already,
system.
yeah,
Right. Because
then
we
it's crazy.
observe and we're able to discern what actually happened, or actually that we're not on a flat like surface. Like, so to me, it absolutely proves that it was just a dude jerking off in outer space to this. There you go.
So
Oh,
the
but
thing
where
that
the outer
stood out
space
to me,
comes from.
yeah, if they would have started with a big bang, I would have been much more impressed. Um, so one of the things that immediately stood out to me that I underlined was, I think in the first two sentences where it says, that it's from the standpoint of people on Earth. So describes events as they would have been seen by a human observer had they been present. So already we are looking at not a direct observation, but a theoretical direct observation.
Right.
So they are defining the first chapter of Genesis to be a theoretical observation of the creation of everything.
Good point. So,
Yeah.
like, yours is theoretical, ours is theoretical, but based on some evidence.
Right. That's right. This is
Ah,
our evidence of it. And it kind of
Mhm.
sounds, I don't know. We're going to compare these theories, is all I'm saying. So they have made their hypothesis their theory. We're gonna look at it.
Interesting. All right. I'm
gonna
excited
dissect
to
it.
see what's coming.
All
Oh,
right.
next.
Well, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Are any of these
Let's
questions
move.
worth it? How does the description of the luminaries? Yeah. I mean, we talked
Oh,
about that. So,
I didn't even realize we missed one.
um, oh, the question you
What's
mean?
that?
Yeah, how does the description of the luminaries indicate this? Oh, because if you're standing here, this is like one of those JW, let's dumb it down. If you're standing here, the sun would appear as it's really big.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
other stars really small z's.
Yeah. Oh, this is actually a great
Very
question for
small.
people like us in the Kingdom Hall that actually are smart. And you can be like, all right, so the description is saying like the moon is big to us, the stars are small. But those stars are actually super big compared to the sun, which is bigger than the moon. So that's what y'all need to understand. And
That's right.
I mean,
I'm
that's the
sorry.
answer to 2B.
I was too busy laughing about in space. No one can hear you coming. What did you say? I apologize. I'm
In
sorry.
space, no one
I
can hear you
stu-
coming. Nope, that's pretty funny.
I wrote
They can't,
I
but they
wrote a
can see it.
funny. What's that?
I said they can't hear it, but they can see it.
Oh, right.
Now I want to see it happen just to know what happens in space.
Very cold in space.
I
Just
bet
remember
it's
that.
so disappointing. I bet it comes out like 2 inches and then just floats.
Oh my! Now I'm picturing it. Nope, I'm
Good.
picturing
Well, I mean, that's what she was getting at. She was like, I wonder what it looks like.
it.
I mean, that's gotta be what it looks like. They can't.
Oh my!
I bet you the astronauts have done it, so that I'm sure it's recorded
Oh,
somewhere
for
what
sure.
happens. You know, the United States government wants to know what happens. A dude wants to know what happens when you come in space. So,
Yep, for sure.
if anybody's curious,
Get a ruler and have it float next to you and see how far it comes out. Now I want to know that.
I think can't you submit like questions and scientific studies and stuff for astronauts to do on the space station and stuff, and sometimes they do it. I used to follow an astronaut on TikTok, and she was up in space and she did TikToks and stuff, and she was cool. She would
Oh,
answer
that's a pretty
people's
cool
questions and
idea.
stuff. So
Who
you
would
could
I write
ask.
about this?
I don't know. NASA sounds like a good
Okay,
place to start
if
to
I can
me.
come up with a letter, would you put your name on it with the doctor title on it, along with mine?
But put it submitted under my name. Is
Yes.
that what you're asking?
Both of our names on it, yes. Just sign it. As long as you read it,
It
you
depends on
sign
how
it.
good the letter is. If you're convincing, then
All
yes.
right. All right. I'll
Actually,
translate it.
to respond to the comment about like the goat herders and stuff, I had wrote
Oh.
here. I had said the book of Genesis is written by humans of early antiquity, likely based on millennia of tribal and cultural oral histories that were passed down. Their primitive understanding of the luminaries is based on early scientific observations mixed with cultural norms and theoretical observations, where technology and scientific method were not present to provide direct observations. Proto-human, uneducated guessing is what I said.
Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, it was pretty smart for its time. I mean, I'm not like saying that's not like cool stuff to like, oh, hey, we got it all figured out.
Sure.
But you really didn't. Like
I
when you
mean,
break it down,
a
they
lot of
they
stuff is
they
cool.
didn't. They
Right.
didn't. They thought the earth was a flat dome. So they didn't even have it right.
I see Tyler has graced us with his brief presence in the chat,
Oh.
and
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
we came to the right
That
place because
sounds
we're
like a
having
good
the
time.
right conversations.
The Holy Spirit is with you at all
Ooh.
times.
And in space.
And in space. He's just away.
Well, shall we go on to chapter 3? Because there's some
Let's
stuff I
do
wanted
it.
to
Oh my
move us
goodness.
Let's
along.
skeet along.
There was a giant spider on the floor just now. All across.
It's spider
I mean,
season.
huge.
All right.
Yep.
I'll read
I
one
mean,
then.
I'm
Since I made you
Yeah,
guys
your turn.
read them. Okay. Paragraph 3. The first part of Genesis indicates that the earth could have existed for billions of years before the first Genesis day, though it does not say for how long. Okay. Because they are basically saying that all of the universe was created before day 1 of this book, is what I'm reading. However, it does describe what Earth's condition was before that first day began. Now the earth proved to be formless and waste, and there was darkness upon the surface of the watery deep. And God's active force was moving to and fro over the surfaces of the water. Okay. So that's Genesis 1-2. So there was water in before. Wait, is this still the day before? The before day? The before time?
The before four time.
sorry, I wasn't paying attention because I was trying to sweep
Uh,
this huge spider away with a broom.
I just think it's amazing that I
Not
think it's
many.
amazing they start out with a theory right in the first sentence. Could have.
It's
First
true. They
part of
don't have
Genesis
any of it.
indicates it could have existed for billions of years. Oh, is that not a theory?
I mean, it's a guess at best.
Yeah, it's not even a theory. That's just that's a wild guess.
That's a pulled it out of my ass.
Hey,
Yeah.
the,
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's not even a freaking like it's not even sussed out. Didn't even do any due
X
diligence.
What's that?
Witness Awake
Weasel
commented
words,
something.
exactly.
He said, or ask Charles Taze Russell, and you'll get something like 49,000 years. I just wanted to point out that the Jehovah's Witnesses, I've heard it from my mother. They have all
Uh-oh.
kinds of stuff already loaded into say to you whenever they hear the name Charles Taze Russell. They're like, my mom said, "Oh, have you heard that name? Because I know all the apostates say that name, Charles Taze Russell." And then they have a script about like, well, he wasn't part of the Jehovah's Witnesses because of this reason, this reason. And
Are they
I
no
just want to
longer
let
like
y'all know
accepting him?
that no,
Because
I
I don't
just
remember
wanted
them
to say
talking
that
badly about him when I was a kid.
They kind of been
saying that
phasing
name
him
will
out.
make
Like in
them
some
think.
videos, they don't include him in their history anymore.
Yep, that's what
It's,
it
a,
is.
it's an
And
excellent tactic to erase your history. It's almost
they're
like they're
teaching
taking it out of a
people.
playbook.
They're teaching people
Yeah,
that
it really
when
is a
they hear that
playbook.
name, they should assume that whoever said it is an apostate. So
Interesting.
What
Did you hear that,
happened there?
guys? Update your language.
Mhm.
Yeah, use the proper language.
Was this guy? Who was the beginning of the? What was the beginning of your religion? I forget.
Yeah. Don't teach. I
Doesn't
would suggest
exist.
always to never
We
teach
just still
anybody
believe all his
anything.
teachings.
Just always ask people questions. Never try to teach them something. Just ask them to teach you.
I just want to go back to the billions of years comment. One of the things that I would say is, while I do believe they pulled it out of their ass, they got this number because of the advancements of science. Because I guarantee if you would have asked this question to somebody, even the most science-minded person out there, like of their time. So like let's just go way back and say, what would Plato have said that existed before day one of the Genesis book, right? He would have not said, he might have said millennia, right? Because the concept of billion is just a very wild thing for our brains to naturally grasp. And so I doubt a lot of people in the past had even thought of the number billion, and we've thought of the number Google. So like
Right.
even the numbers we can comprehend are pretty large now, but only because of science and technology. We've never been able to comprehend and grasp those kinds of scale items in antiquity. So hence why I think everything is in shorter time frames, because it's easier to comprehend. But
Mm.
anyway, I'm sorry. What was the question? How is Earth described before the first day?
Mm.
I said poetically. I was trying to be nice.
uh, hmm.
Has Earth described? It says that it
Just
could
that
have
it
been
was
there for a long
formless and
time.
waste.
And dark, but yet water was
Dark.
there. Deep water.
Yeah. Where'd
And
the
it was
water come
God's
from?
force causing the oceans to move.
Yeah.
So there
It
were
was
oceans, it was dark. If there were oceans, then there already had to have been an earth formed, right?
Yep, there
So
was some
we're
type of
there.
rock and there was water.
It was rock, it had
right.
water, but not a lot of form, but obviously at least a planetary form, right? Because how else
Right.
did it have oceans? Didn't have.
Right.
Well, it says formless, so I guess no form.
I mean, really, if you remove all of the oceans from the Earth, it's not a perfect sphere anymore. So it's
Oh
still
well,
technically
no.
formless.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
don't know. It
could
just
see
depends on how
that.
you define that. What does that even
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Formless.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're exactly right. What does formless mean?
I mean, because
Yeah.
it has some type of
In
form.
this yeah.
And they're
Hmm.
saying there was darkness on the water. So, but the Earth had already formed, and we already know that the solar system formed probably, I wouldn't say all at once, but it kind of all spun together around the formation of the star, and we're just a result. The Earth is just a result, like all the other planets. So the sun had to have existed. The Earth and all the planets in the solar system would have had to have existed, because can't can't have an ocean on nothing. Right?
Yeah.
We're describing an ocean that's on and that's dark. So something is somehow the sun isn't shining on all of the planets, but there's an ocean. So that's where we're at. They've set the stage. I'm picturing a ocean where no light can penetrate so much that it's black, dark black, right? Is that where we're at? Is that what everybody else is picturing?
I
Yeah, that's what
guess.
I'm picturing is a dark black ocean that's already got no light shining on it anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
I mean, in there, just FYI, in there is just a nod to T home. The surface of the water, like the deep, is T home,
Uh-huh.
and that is cognate to Tiamat, which is the ancient saltwater dragon of the like saltwater dragon. So there's hidden meaning in there. This isn't like necessarily just a creation myth. There's other stuff interwoven in there that
Mhm. So you're saying this is possibly not an original take? from other cultures
Yeah,
and other creation myths. They kind of glossed over, oh, we're not going to talk about other creation myths. In fact,
right.
not in a very short period of time, they're about to dismiss every other creation story. So,
Are
um,
they interesting? Because
I
even
mean,
their
let's get
own
there, I guess.
story has, even their own story has it remaining in there, so it's undeniable. It's encoded in the language. You can't. Anyway,
I
anywho.
think it's a little bit further once they start talking about the sequence of events as they dismiss other creation stories. Well, let's get back to what a day is because that's where we're headed next. So, how
Hmm.
Let's
long
head into the day.
is a Genesis day? Should be
Oh, how long
Genesis
is a
day. All right.
Genesis day? That's a weird
um,
ass question, but okay.
Brother
Yep.
Dobstopper, would you like to read chapter 4?
Yes, sister. Thank you very much. Uh, Many consider the word day used in Genesis chapter 1 to mean 24 hours. However, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 5, God Himself is said to divide day into smaller periods of time, calling just the light portion day. In Genesis 2:4, all the creative periods are called one day. This is a history of the heavens and the earth in the time of their being created. In the day, all six creative periods, that Jehovah God made earth and heaven.
Hmm.
Do you want me to continue?
So, I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, they're basically trying to say that the word day doesn't have to mean 24 hours. It could mean a period of time, right?
Right. Yep,
Potentially
that's
an
kind of what. Well,
unspecific period of
they're
time.
specifically saying it is a creative period. So any amount of time, it's just a creative period. So basically, whatever amount of time it took God to uh, make His work of art, and I guess.
Right. It's such an unspecific amount of time that technically each day could be a different amount of time
Right,
as we would count it on this planet.
right.
So, can I ask this question?
Please do.
If the purpose of the creation story is like to show the how, well, I guess they say it's not to show the
It's
how.
not
I
to show
don't know.
the how, get it right.
Why would you use the term day? Because that to me is indicating you're showing me how. Could have used
It's
an
describing. Yeah,
he
this
could have
is
used any
confusing.
damn word.
Hmm.
Wouldn't there? I'm sure there's plenty of Hebrew words for time. Why use day?
Well,
It
they're
just so
gonna go and
happens.
explain that in the next paragraph. So
Okay.
stick with it. Stick with it. You want to read
Mhm.
the chapter 5 then, Ryan, so we can find
Sure.
out? I'm tantalized. Like we gotta know.
The Hebrew word yam, translated day, can mean different lengths of time. It also can mean the sea god Yam, just FYI, if anybody's concerned about that.
That-
Among the meaning Yeah. Among the meanings possible, William Wilson's Old Testament word studies includes the following. A day, it is frequently put for time in general or for a long time, a whole period under consideration. Day is also put for a particular season or time when any extraordinary event happens. This last sentence appears to fit the creative days, for certainly they were periods when extraordinary events were described as happening. It also allows for periods much longer than 24 hours.
Ugh.
I
You
just
need
feel
your
like,
period for days.
oh my God. I don't know why I feel like somebody was just like talking down to me.
Well, they were quoting the
Somebody was like
William Wilson
patronizing me.
Testament.
Oh my goodness.
So a day. So I mean, I assume that they're
So
quoting this
a
person because
day.
they're agreeing with them, right? Like they think this
I
is a credible source to agree with.
Yeah, that's what they're getting at exactly.
What is one meaning of the Hebrew word for day that indicates longer periods can be understood? Either of y'all have an answer for that?
Yeah, but yom, if I mean yom means time, I guess, but
I mean, I looked it
it
up.
means day.
Yeah. But you're saying when people use it in its context, it meant a day, or did it mean potentially a span of time that was relevant to the topic? Because when you say like back in Shakespeare's day, right, like we're talking about a specific
Yeah.
relevant time period. So I'm cool with that definition, honestly. If they're saying that this is how people use that word and that's how the Bible is using that word, that's cool, because really all we're doing is we're saying each section has an unspecified given amount of time that is to indicate this time frame here. Fine.
I'm
That's
pretty
fine.
sure it just means day. I
In the
feel like
way
they're
people use it.
overcomplicating it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it would just mean day. I mean, I could research that if anybody really gives a crap, but
But
not that
what
anybody
they're
does.
saying it means is
Mm.
what
Is that
I'm repeating it back
has
correctly. Is that
Yeah.
has Dan McClellan answered the question of how long a day should mean biblically in Genesis?
I don't know. Let's ask Dan.
I mean that is something I really want to know his opinion on, Dan McClellan.
I can't go through that many TikToks. It's looking for that specific answer.
You don't have enough confidence in yourself.
I just don't care that much, I guess. I don't know.
Or that.
But the point is that Jehovah's Witnesses are saying that this is what the Bible means when it says a day, right? And that's really all we're doing
Right.
here is we're establishing what they are saying, the Genesis theory of observation. Sorry, the Genesis observation, their theoretical observations. A day means anything that we need it to mean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Good for
Just
me.
want to be clear.
Okay.
I'll accept that. I'll accept it.
Yeah.
Sure, it can mean whatever you need it to mean.
Sure, whatever you say.
So number 6. We can just move on. Genesis chapter 1 uses the expressions evening and morning relative to the creative periods. Like the beginning of the day and the end half of the day. Sure.
Mhm.
Does this not indicate that they were 24 hours long? Not necessarily. In some places, people often refer to a man's lifetime in his day. Oh, and my father's day and Shakespeare's day. Anyway, I had gotten that from somewhere. They may divide up that lifetime day, saying in the morning or dawn of his life, in the twilight of his life. So evening and morning in Genesis does not limit the meaning to a literal 24-hour period. Yeah. Okay, fine. We get it.
I feel like they're taking a turn of phrase and trying to say that's what the Hebrews were using it as, and I don't think they were using it as a turn of phrase. You know what I'm saying?
But they know it's not logical and realistic that it literally took a day. So I'm going to go with their logic for a little bit longer and see where it takes me.
I just read ahead to chapter 7.
Follow the
I think
crazy.
I think we can just skip it because it basically just goes on to say, hey, a
More.
day could also mean this.
It could
and
also
that.
mean
So,
this. It could also mean
sure.
this. The days of
I'll
Genesis
accept,
could likewise have embraced long periods of time, millenniums, maybe millions of years. Why not?
Why not?
I say we just go with it. It could mean whatever.
All right.
I don't really have any problem with that.
Okay.
Back in the day.
I also wrote, these are the days of our lives, days gone by. The dog days are gone. Back in the day. I said, what is it? In the day of the dinosaurs. So anyway, I just was getting. Anyway, we can move on.
Which paragraph do you want to go to?
Well, let's see. What is 8? So
Go
first
to
day.
8?
Let's just let's get into it. What's the first day? Ryan, your job stopper, you want to read first day?
Yeah.
Or you can do 8 and 9. They're pretty short.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll do both
Oh
of
yeah,
those.
they're together.
Let light come to
They're
be.
married.
Then there came to be light, and God began calling the light day, but the darkness he called night. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, a first day. Of course, the sun and moon were in outer space long before this first day, but their light did not reach the surface of the earth for an earthly observer to see. Now, light evidently came to be visible on earth on this first day, and the rotating earth began to have alternating days and nights.
All right. So it would be stupid to say that the Earth and Sun and Moon didn't already exist at the same time that, the Earth.
Okay, I just checked.
There.
Yeah, it means day. Okay,
What means
but there
day?
we go. I just checked in Ugarit what it means. Yam,
Mm.
it means a day. So it's likely means just a day in Hebrew. But anyway, moving along.
I see. Well, I mean, it is a day. It means a day.
It is a day. Means day. They're
So not the colloquial term.
right. Exactly.
You're saying that was not a way that they used that word in their writing at the time.
Nah, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. From my viewpoint, looking at other literature that uses that same word, day.
If you scroll back up just a little bit to that picture on that first page, I thought
that
this
one
was
right
funny.
there.
Yeah, I made a sarcastic comment underneath it and says, "Day 1, let light come to be." But I was like, but there's already light in the photograph. So
Right.
is this right after, or is it?
Mhm.
It made it sound like it's gonna happen, and then. Anyway,
how clever would you think they were if it was just a black square? That they had?
That's what I was thinking. Like it needs to be black.
This is what the Earth looked like without the light.
Obviously, light's hitting them waves, or we wouldn't have that contour.
Obviously, what this means when it says "let light come to be," because obviously the luminaries were already up in the sky, so that's just how long it traveled. The "let light come to be" was like the time period that the light had to travel from that creation to the Earth. Problem solved.
So far away that the light has not yet traveled. Yeah, they're trying to say something's in the way of the light, and that's why it makes sense.
Has God created the speed of light at this point? Like, at what point does that come in to be? Because I'm kind of curious.
That when
they
you
never
hit that
really talk
switch,
about.
jumpstart the Big Bang, and
They don't really talk about the laws
So
of physics
confused.
very much. Like,
no. Of course, the sun and the moon were already there. They just couldn't. The light couldn't penetrate. Yeah. We're getting there. Okay. I feel like these questions are stupid. You want to read number 10, Ryan? And
Sure. Apparently, the light came in a gradual process, extending over a long period of time, not instantaneously, as when you turn on an electric light bulb. An electric light bulb, not one of those fire light bulbs that you get.
an acoustic light bulb.
The Genesis rendering by translator J.W. Watts reflects this when it says, and gradually light came into existence. A distinctive translation of Genesis. Oh, it's distinctive. Thank you for that, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like another. This light was from the sun, but the sun itself could not be seen through the overcast. Wait, who told you there was an overcast? Okay.
yeah,
Hence the light.
That's what I said.
Okay, did you say okay? Because that's like, wait,
We
who
just
said
jumped
overcast?
we skipped part of the plot, and
Yeah, there was like
when did
nothing
that happen?
formless, and then all of a sudden it's
Mhm.
overcast, I guess. All right, hence the light that reached the earth was light diffused, as indicated by a comment about verse 3 in Rotherham's emphasized Bible. Oh boy, oh
Oh,
boy.
Okay,
Nothing
I
but
immediately
joy.
see. I see now what they're getting at.
Mhm.
They're trying to get ahead of people, saying, "Look at how ridiculous the order of events in Genesis are." That's
Mhm.
what they're trying to say.
It is.
They're
They
trying to get
yes.
ahead of that, and what they're saying is, don't worry about the plants being here before the sun, because they said light was here
There
earlier.
was obviously some light.
I mean, there was like the light was from a diffused. It was like diffused light. Like there wasn't the sun. Don't forget we said it was from the perspective of people here and not
Mm-hmm.
reality. So they're
Well,
saying that
I
Genesis
assumed
is not a realistic account. Actually, is what they're saying.
well, we already
Oh my.
established it's a theoretical observation, so
Oh my
depends on
goodness.
where they
It's
were standing.
a new
Yeah.
light. It's a new light. It's the new light.
And
Oh
let
my
there be
god.
newer light.
The newest
The
of
newest
lights.
light plus infinity.
No take backs.
No take backs.
Oh boy.
Yeah, yeah, because you're right. I wrote down, I was like, um, why does the light need to have taken a long time to reach the earth? And is that a problem that needs to be resolved? But you're right. Like I was thinking that that didn't make sense. Why would they just put that there? But they put that there because they're trying to justify what you're saying is the
That it had
argument
event.
against it coming up, and so they had to lay down the tracks, as it were, like you said. Because
Right.
I was so confused. Like,
Preemptively.
where did that even come from? Why did you even say that? And here we are in chapter 11, and it's
Boop.
gonna explain it, or
Second
11 and
day.
12.
Oh, there we go.
You guys want me to read it? Take a break. Second day. This is the second day. Because what
Okay.
did
Second
we
Well, we
day.
have.
establish happened on the first
Oh,
day?
Second
Light?
day.
chapter 12. You want me to read it?
11 and 12, right?
Oh,
Yes,
11
11
and
and
12.
12.
Okay.
You can do it.
Uh,
We believe in you.
the second day, let an expanse come to be in between the waters, and let a dividing occur between the waters and the waters. Then God proceeded to make the expanse and to make a division between the waters that should be beneath the expanse and the waters that should be above the expanse. And it came to be so, and God began to call the expanse heaven. Uh, some
So,
translations use the word firmament instead of expanse. From this, the argument is made the Genesis account borrowed from creation myths that represent this firmament as a metal dome. But even the King James Version Bible, which uses firmament, says in the margin expansion. This is because the Hebrew word rakia, translated expanse, means to stretch out or spread out or expand.
Oh boy.
all
Love how
right.
they quote the old King James Version.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even
So
in the King James Version.
the
Interdasting.
the firmament brings a problem. So they dismissed that problem by saying that
Mm-hmm.
that's not what it's interpreted as, and that it really
Mm-hmm.
means this expanse, which later I believe they get, I don't know if they're calling it an atmosphere or what. Like I don't fully understand it, but I'm super confused about the heaven. Okay, so is the expanse heaven? And I don't mean like the spiritual place where everybody goes, but like what is that supposed to be? The above us? Like what?
Well, I get so there I you know what,
And
it's
then
a
there's a
shame. I do have a so there's like waters and then there's like a layer of the firmament which has like windows in it so God can make it rain. But above that, those waters above there would be like, I guess, where God is out in the heavens. But our earth is comprised of the waters, a firmament, the earth here, space, and then more waters.
But we're still a globe, right?
They believe that the earth is a flat dome.
The firmament people.
The firmament people, yes.
Okay.
So the Bible
Because
is
they
actually a flat earth dome book.
dome thingy.
And Jehovah's Witnesses
Yes.
do not believe that there is a firmament, correct?
Right, because they don't believe that the earth is flat.
Right,
If in
because
order
that
to
would be
believe
silly.
in the firmament means that you have to believe that it's flat, then
Right.
that's the problem they need to eliminate, because they don't want to.
Mhm.
It's not popular at the time of this writing to believe that the earth is flat. Maybe gaining some momentum, but we all know that doesn't go anywhere because you can't shoot a missile if the earth is flat. So
Here we go.
yes,
Just quickly.
okay. So
So now
still
you
looks
can
like
see
a
how there's
globe, but
yes, exactly. And there's the heavens out there, which is where God would be, but then there's water above us, and then the firmament, which has some windows, which he can control the waters, and then the space here where we are, and then the earth, and then more waters. And somewhere in there is like kind of like a river Styx that leads to Sheol-ish, kind of where the underworld would be.
so is the water below the oceans and the water above this ocean of the heaven thing?
Yeah, I don't know if they're all connected. I'm wondering if this image is correct. I'm not sure. Like if
I know, I'm
all the
just trying
water,
to
like
like
if we're
wrap my
just
brain
kind of
around.
encircle. Yeah, like I'm
Ooh.
wondering if it just kind of encircles us up there and then it kind of runs back down into the.
What if the waters
I'm not
below
sure.
is the oceans and the waters above are the clouds and the rain stuff? And this is heaven. In between the
I don't
two,
know.
I don't believe that be the case because, man, if this is heaven, we don't have much to look forward to.
This is not as advertised.
Exactly.
Don't like it. Take it back. I send
Yeah,
it back.
yeah. So I
We'll
mean,
redo.
we didn't even read 13, but I guess I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let's see. So the second day, okay, they're just describing it. Okay, it's like an evaporation layer of water above or something, because why is water above not falling then,
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
gravity wise? So evaporation, that's why I said an atmospheric kind of
Hmm.
layer, right? Boy, is it wrong when you really actually learn about the atmosphere above us, because there's actually quite a few different layers and the
Right. It's not
temperatures can be
just.
different. You can have like, there's like almost a layer that I think has like normal temperatures for what we are used to on the, the surface of the earth. But
Oh,
anyway,
wow.
that's where you get different layers of wind and channels, and there's a lot of stuff going on there, and it isn't just this. So if they're saying this is part of the description of how it really is, it's not doing a very good job describing it in a way that, to me, is impressive,
Mm-hmm.
and or descriptive, or maybe even accurate in the ways they're trying to claim it. But yeah, so I think we kind of beat that dead horse.
Beat it some more.
I don't know if we wanted to look into the Hebrew word they're trying to use that translate to expanse, but I'm sure
The rock.
Dan
Yeah.
McClellan's got to have a video on that too, right?
how
Right.
did
I'm
I do
sure.
with the pronunciation of that? Do you know?
Oh,
I hope
I
well.
think that I mean I think that sounded pretty good. That's how I would have pronounced it.
Did your cat just?
yes, that was my cat going wow.
Okay.
That was me.
Gotcha.
That's why I was looking at him. Okay, let's move on to 13, because 13 is gonna answer the questions. We're gonna do Jeopardy style. What is the expanse that may have looked as though? Wait, the expanse may have looked as though what had happened?
What
Wait,
happened?
what?
It
The
might have looked
expanse
as
may
though
have
the
looked.
waters. It might have looked as though the
Oh,
waters above had been pushed up from the earth. Whatever that means. The waters above have been pushed up from the
sorry,
earth.
it
Pushed
took me
up.
So
a
maybe a
long
volcano.
time to read that question.
They were tooting that ass up. The waters were
So
like
the waters
tooting and
above
booting.
had a magical anti-gravity force field above it.
Right.
Like God's like, don't be bitches. I'm gonna drop this bitch and I'm gonna flood this world. Isn't that actually what happened to the Expanse and why it's not there now? Right? Isn't it not supposed to be there?
Oh, I don't know.
This is
I have no idea. I'd never heard that, but I don't
Still
know.
claim there's an expanse above us with a water above it?
I mean, that's what the Bible, that's what they used to think.
All right.
now. Are
Why
they
did I
like
think
now
that-
appealing to like
Because
King James
because
flat
though
Earth people?
what'd you say?
So are they now like appealing to like King James and flat Earth
I mean,
people,
kind of, but I
trying to
think
get ahead
because
of their
it's such a
arguments?
popular book, they're going, even the King James Bible says it's not really the
Yeah.
Like, I think it's kind of more of like just not so much appealing to people, but pointing out they don't even know their
We
own
don't even
Bible.
like this Bible, but they even agree
They
with
even
us.
agree with us. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Use the enemy when you can, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
Well, is there anything worth 13? In whatever way the described separation occurred, it would look as though the waters above had been pushed up from the earth, and birds could later be said to fly in the expanse of the heavens.
Oh, okay. So
There?
there's
But
I don't
water pushed up above the air that are the birds flying in the water is what I'm asking.
so are they trying to said what you had asked earlier if that was then gone, like the firmament was then like dropped?
Yeah. Like, what
Oh.
happened to the waters above? Are they still supposed to be there? Or is that because I remember my mom, because I remember saying, this is supposed to be really accurate and this is supposed to be describing it, but it doesn't match what I understand to be in our atmosphere and above our heads, right? Like, this isn't matching. We look up, we see stars. But so the explanation is, how did they then get to, see all this stuff? What happened? Did it go away? Did it change? And I
Yeah,
hear
I've
my mom
never
said that, like, that's the explanation of where all the water came from to flood the earth, is because it came down from the waters above.
Yeah, but I don't know that the Bible says that. I'm pretty sure that's part of their theology they're making up.
Space birds. Yeah. Okay.
Space birds.
Yeah,
All right.
let's say let's
Apparently,
get on to the
I'm
third day.
overthinking it.
I'm just gonna
Drown
whatever
in
they
the
want to say.
space
Let's
water.
just accept.
All
I'm
right.
gonna
Well,
accept
then what
this on the
happens
pilot,
on day
yeah.
3?
Oh, look at this beautiful picture.
I see
Boy.
It
oceans.
is pretty. Actually, that picture reminds. Wait, let me make sure that y'all can portray it. Yeah, that picture reminds me of that place you took me to, Chuck, your time waster.
The ocean?
Yeah, they had like the. Well, yeah, we just went to the one spot at the ocean, but the part that had like
Those
the
rocks
dark
are pretty
colored sand.
round.
Well, are you
looked
talking
like-
about the Puget Sound, or are you talking about the Pacific Ocean when we went? And it was super foggy and that tsunami hit.
Yeah,
I brought him to the ocean for the first time, and this tsunami warning went off, and we are standing.
nice.
Yeah, we went and stood out on the beach, where it was like the ocean was super low.
It was. I was a little worried. It was foggy, and you couldn't see
Yeah,
very
same.
far out, and so you couldn't. But technically, the really low tide is really far out there. So I was like, it was actually normal. There was no tsunami, but yes, I did do that too. Sorry, it was fun.
And
We were fine. We
supposedly,
made it.
we had read at the time. We had read at the time that the tsunami was over when we walked out there, but we were still kind of paranoid.
Yeah, come hang out with me, guys. I'll
It
take
was low.
you to. We have
Dangerous
volcanoes.
living. Trekking around the world.
Tsunami beaches.
All right, let's find out how they describe day 3, I guess. Let's see. All right, I'll read one. Let the waters under the heavens be brought together into one place, and let the dry land appear. Done. And it came to be so, because I said so. Make it so. And God began calling the dry land earth, but the bringing together of the waters he called seas.
Oh.
Okay, I don't think that's how they think that the earth formed, but okay. But as
Yeah.
usual, the account does not describe how this was done.
As usual? Huh? That's
Because
okay.
remember, Genesis doesn't tell you how God brought the dry land and pulled the water off the dry land and collected it into the sea.
But as usual is such weird wording. As usual.
Remember, Genesis doesn't tell us how life got here.
You could say recall. Not
I'm
as
just
you.
saying,
The
they're
fuck?
making a lot of
Anyway.
effort to remind us of
They're
that.
normalizing this. They're
Which-
trying
That's
to
how-
use normalizing language.
That's how I would have worded it. As usual, the account doesn't describe for how it was done. That's how I would
Enjoy
have
your
said it.
piss.
Yeah, no doubt. Tremendous earth movements would have been involved in the formation of land areas. Geologists would explain such major upheavals as catastrophism, but Genesis indicates direction and control by a creator.
Mm-hmm. It's all under his control.
Again, the
Absolutely.
Genesis written as theoretical observations for humans by humans. Geologists would say it took millions of days. So yeah. So okay. All right. So I feel like we're getting gaslit pretty heavy here. Remember,
Yes, it's
Yeah.
exactly what it feels
thinking
like.
about all
For
these
sure.
how details, because that's going to get you down a dangerous thought path, and you might start asking questions.
Mhm.
God doesn't
Don't
say
do that.
how. He never answers how. He never answers any questions.
No, it's all just fluff that we've already figured
Oh.
out through our own observations.
Hey, y'all, I just saw that Jay said he was going to take a piss, so that's what I'm going to do too.
You gonna go join him? All right.
Have fun.
Yeah, I'm going to join him.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Hope everything comes out all right. So, yeah. I mean, like, what's the? I don't know. Like, I feel like this is just a shut up, paragraph. So, would you like? Should we wait? Nah, we don't wait for people when they go pee, because that just means we have to stay here longer. So, would you like to read 15 and 16, or would you like me to read some of it?
Sure, I can read.
They're kind of big
15 and
paragraphs. You want to
16. I can do 15 and you can do 16. Does that work?
go for it?
Okay. In the biblical account where God is described as questioning Job about his knowledge of the earth, a variety of developments concerning the earth's history are described. Its measurements, its cloud masses, its seas, and how their waves were limited by dry land. Oh, so smart. Wow. Brilliant things. I would never know that waves were limited by dry land.
Yeah.
Many
You could
things
say
in
how.
general. Yeah. Many things in general. I just stupid girl don't understand things. Many
know.
things in general about the creation spanning long periods of time. Among these things, comparing earth to a building, the Bible says that God asked Job, into what have its socket pedestals been sunk down, or who laid its cornerstone? Wow,
Yep.
God.
They're doubling down on the shut up and stop asking questions, because they brought up Job. And isn't that what happened to Job? Didn't Job like ask him why he did all those things to him or something? And God's like, where were you when I made everything? You're nothing. You don't know what you're talking about.
But it just kind of confirmed that there's pillars of the earth. Now, I don't know if we're on a turtle. I can't
Socket
say that
pedals,
we're on
you
a
mean?
turtle.
We're in a
I can't.
cornerstone. Socket pedals with cornerstones. I mean, these are just like architectural things of their day. So whatever. Okay.
And Job also has another creation story in it. I don't know if they'll mention it, but it already had maybe it will come up. But yeah, there's 3 creation stories in the Bible, and Job has part of it.
I
We'll
did
see
not
if
know
they
that.
mention it. We'll see if they mention
All
it.
right. Well, I'll just read 16 before we do the questions because they were
Oh,
together.
yeah. Oopies. There we go.
Interestingly, the socket pedestals, oh, that's what you were talking about. Earth's crust is much thicker under continents and even more so under mountain ranges, pushing deep into the underlying mantle like tree roots into the soil. The idea that mountains and continents had roots has been tested over and over again and shown to be valid, says a geology resource. Oceanic crust is only 5 miles thick. The continental roots go down to 20 miles, and the mountain roots penetrate twice that far. And all Earth's layers press inward upon the Earth's core from all directions, making it like a great cornerstone of support. See, we can make the metaphor fit to what we believe is
Yes.
how things exist. See? We did
That
it.
was really good
Yay.
manipulation to kind of package that all up and say, well, technically, if you look at a mountain, you could think, okay, sure.
You
Sure,
know what's
Bob.
funny is like when you think about this idea and like they talk about how deep down the mountain roots go and stuff. When you look at the scale of the Earth's crust to the core, like if you just like were to go down to the center, it's insignificant. Like the amount of layers that the mantle is made up of compared to all the other layers is, I mean, I don't. When we're talking about this,
Oh, wow. Okay.
right? Like they're talking about the root of the mountains, and
Right.
it's like insignificant. It's just insignificant to the rest of the planet. And I
That's a
just think
great
it's
picture.
funny that they're making it sound like this amazing thing. And
Can you actually show that again for a second? Would you mind? Just so everyone can see that? Because that's a
sorry,
really good
I was like,
indication of just how incorrect and inaccurate that information is about mountains. Just, oh, well, they just go so deep. I'm not saying they don't go deep. Not saying that. But to think they're a pillar, that's what you would think if you were a human observing. You'd think, oh boy, those mountains must just go really deep.
is it
You have
showing
to keep
it?
that in mind for all of these paragraphs. So it doesn't matter what reality is, because they said at the beginning that all of this is just from the perspective of the human observing.
Exactly, which is right. Amen. It's exactly what it is. It's
Right.
our perspective.
And they don't have this perspective, so
But now
again,
we
it would have been
understand
more
through
impressive had they been like, the mountains are deep, but it's nothing compared to the center of the earth, which is even astronomically further or something. That would have been much more interesting. But
how many licks does it take? How many days does it take to get to the center of the Earth's core?
yeah, I don't remember. Sorry, these are my notes, and I had a bunch of stuff up here about the
Well, if you
Earth's
want to know how many
crust.
days it takes to get to the center of the Earth's core, it's actually just one, because the entire amount of time that I'm spending getting to the Earth's core is just one creative period.
Exactly. It's just one day. Everything's going to take me one day. Like, ask my boss. Just one day.
Yeah.
Why are you
Anyway.
using quotations, Ryan? Oh, no reason. How's your day?
How's your day?
Yeah, I don't know if we want to go back to your notes. That's sorry.
Sure, let's go. Okay, here we go. Are we on to the
think
questions?
my notes might make everybody's eyes crossed. All right. I don't know. Is it worth reading any of them questions or?
What points were raised to Job about the
Are we gonna
earth? How deep do the roots of continents and mountains go? Well, yeah, we kind of answered B. How deep do the roots and continents of the mountains really go?
Are we going
Not that
to
far.
keep going through all 7 days tonight?
What do you want to do? What time are we at? We are at 1:14. 1:14, brothers and sisters.
I mean, I know that I'll start losing tension at this point. So going through, if we're at day 3,
Yeah, maybe we should stop it this day. before this lasts a whole day.
So let's just sum up what we've
It's great,
gone
thank you.
through,
How's
then,
yours?
and then maybe we can just start with we can recap and start with the first day next time when we come back.
My undisclosed
Want to
period of
back
time
up?
has been wonderful.
How's your day?
How's your undisclosed period of time?
Right, your creative period.
It's pretty good.
How's
All
your
right.
creative? Sorry.
I really
I
wanted
love the
to get.
snorts.
I really wanted to get further than we did, and I apologize. It's just so damn
How
exciting.
dare you, sister?
Mhm.
Dr. Tyler.
It's a real problem
Uh,
that we all want to
it's
have
a real
discussion about what we're reading instead of just going through it really quickly and accepting the answers that we're fed.
Yeah,
Takes up too
I
much
think
time.
because it just grates my nerves having people be so freaking like pedantic and just I can't take it. Patronizing.
I don't know what pedantic means.
I feel like they're being very specific about wordplay, and uh, ugh, it's like a game. They're playing a game of semantics.
Oh, I got you. All right. Yeah. Well, they've been doing that since the first chapter, where they kept
Since
saying
day one.
Darwinism and theory of evolution. They were going back and forth between that to kind of dodge actual answers.
Mm.
So they're, really
Mm.
manipulating the language in whatever way they needed to.
Yeah, it's coded language. They use those weasel words like Jonathan said. Like that one that was like what was it that I pointed out? I was like, why did they say as usual? Something like as usual or whatever. Like, no as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
This is not usual, my friend. But they say things like that to make it sound normal
Yeah,
and
as
just
usual. Yeah.
reaffirming. It's weird.
But they wanted to remind us that the Genesis account doesn't describe how God brought life to the earth. What is the point of this account then? What it isn't a how. What is it?
Right. But you're going to spend all this time trying to break it down into what it really is. And like, here, like, look, I'm just looking at 21 again. They're being like pedantic about, well, light means this.
Mhm.
So it really means this. Okay. Hello. We
Mhm.
want to know
Title of
what
the
it
book.
means in the context. Like, what did that person think it meant? Isn't that the intention? Is the author, the writer, what did they intend? Stop playing a game of semantics with me.
Yes, I
Speaking of
agree.
semantics, though, I was going to say their semantics. The title of the book is Life. How did it get here?
That's what they're
And
saying.
then
Right.
third chapter it says, well, the Bible
It's
doesn't
not
say
how. Like, I wouldn't say it's how. Like, don't go too far. Come on
or
now.
yeah. What are you stupid? You're gonna expect it to say how?
You
Right.
yeah, come on, you stupid idiot. You're reading this book for
Unlike that
how. Who gave
stupid
you that impression?
evolution, what does it know?
It's just a theory. Now, this could be what
This
happened,
theoretical
but
observation
evolution,
written from antiquity is clearly and obviously. Yes. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us again. Sorry we can't get through I would be a terrible book study conductor, but this is a terrible book.
could you
Don't hold me.
imagine?
It is a
Oh my
horrible book.
lord.
Come on, you know you guys would have much rather had this book studied than the one we probably all sat through at one point.
Oh man, this is way more entertaining.
Far
I
more
mean, we talked
exactly.
about masturbation in space. Come
Right.
on. Highlights.
And there's a really good song called Masturbate in Space. If you just
Ooh.
listen to it, it'll make you feel good. It'll give you a little giggle. I want to masturbate in space. Yeah, it's a really
Oh,
good
Really, a song
tune.
called
I
that?
need to find this song.
So the
Really?
fourth day is where we'll pick up next week. So we'll probably get 4
Yeah.
through 7, which would make a sense, at least something
I
like
just want
that.
to get to the secret picture that is behind us because it's so great.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which you might as well just scroll to it really quick so people know what the F I'm talking about.
I don't know how.
There it
Oh,
is.
here we go. Here we go.
Yeah,
Oh
this
my
I
God, the
cannot wait.
spider's here.
I cannot wait.
Damn, this
So,
thing is huge.
anyways, this is what you guys have to look forward to is this discussion. So, we have so many jokes. Just
Lots of jokes,
if you want to
friends.
read ahead and bring in your own jokes, we would appreciate the comments in the chat. So,
Oh, oopsie.
um,
Hi. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
all right. Well, thank you
Oh,
everybody
God.
for joining, and I hope everybody has a
This
great
spider came back.
evening.
That
Once
was
again,
good.
thanks for the glorious engagement and discussion that we had. I appreciate it. I hope it's helping other people. It's helping me because I just feel like I've been gaslit for so long. So I appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
Yes. It helps. It really does.
We're not
I think
crazy,
that
you
it
guys. We're not crazy.
we're not. We're just normal ex-cult members.
It's
All right,
okay.
y'all. Bye. Have a great
you.
day. Thanks for coming. We'll see you next week, I
Oh
think.
no, we won't because it's
Oh, we won't.
Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Right.
okay. So
It's
we will not
Thanksgiving, so
see you next week.
enjoy it or ignore it. Do whatever you got to do.
Do what feels best for
I
you. I will.
usually just like to make my favorite food and glutton that over it and eat it, and it's delicious. And so I hope everybody eats food that makes them happy because that's what this
I
holiday
would
is
like
all about.
cheesecake. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Cheesecake would be just the ultimate meal for Indigenous Peoples Day. That's what I call it now, Indigenous Peoples Day. Anyway, I'm a rascally
Every day should
little rabbit. Yes, should be. Okay, my friends, thank you for joining the Worldly Perspective. We will see you in a couple weeks. You take care. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, even after you leave here, leave a comment. That would even be lovely and help the algorithm. We really appreciate your company. You guys are amazing. And Dobstopper and Dr. Time Waster, I love you so much. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Bye.
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 Bye.